My name's Aaron Wolf. I'm the senior planner with the City of Johnston, and I've been with the City of Johnston for about 5 years.
How do you as a planner influence what goes on in a community like Johnston?
I mean, we really don't make planning decisions. Mm-hmm. We make recommendations, mm-hmm. and we make those recommendations to decision-making body. So the extent to which we impact development is the extent to which we can convince those decision-making bodies.
How do your values and your morals direct you to present information?
I mean, certainly you need to do what's best for the community. Yeah. And, again, we have this kind of, the thing that you can always fall back on as a planner is that you have got a comprehensive plan or an overriding development concept mm-hmm. that, has already been agreed upon by, through a public planning process. And, you can't go wrong by sticking to that because, that's kind of the agreed upon vision for development of the city.
Tell me about a project that you consider to be like very successful or more, maybe not successful, but more like influencing to a community.
This Merle Hay redevelopment project where the city looked at some properties along this Merle Hay corridor that were underutilized. Yeah. We have large residential lots along an arterial road, and it's just not the highest and best use properties. And it's aging. The properties are aging, yeah. And really probably better suited for either higher density residential or commercial uses. And the city had undertaken a planning study to see how we could influence redevelopment of these properties mm-hmm. adjacent to Merle Hay Road. It's satisfying for me to see an underutilized piece of property mm-hmm. Turn around, and that process has been interesting and satisfying for me to see the city's role in that. It required us to assemble some of the properties, purchase the properties, kind of market them to people for redevelopment, and it's just been, for me, that's satisfying to see a property that again isn't being put to its highest and best use. Mm-hmm. To see that turn around and like right now worked on a site plan for a senior housing complex just about a block up the street here that's putting in I believe it's 62 units of senior housing. Not only has it redeveloped some underutilized properties, but it's actually kind of helping to extend infrastructure into a part of the city mm-hmm. that isn't served well by infrastructure now.
Is there a problem right now in the Merle Hay project?
There's really not, but what we get most frequently, I'd say, in working with the City of Johnston, most frequently what I've experienced is we have this, an area of our city that has traditionally been rural yeah. in nature, and it's come under some development pressures. We have large, maybe agricultural lots that are being eyed by developers for yeah. single-family homes. And so there's the existing residents out there very much would like to maintain the rural character of the neighborhood. And so we've really paid a lot of attention to that area throughout our comprehensive planning processes to try to maintain, the overall community's vision for that area, provide transitions between these rural density residential lots and new development. At the same rate, when you're extending water and sewer services, that has to be paid for somehow. Yeah. And large lot residential doesn't really allow that to happen. It doesn't allow for the efficient mm-hmm. extension of infrastructure. Extending that infrastructure, we need to do it in an efficient manner. Mm-hmm. And so it's a compromise between what this group wants and maybe what is more feasible.
Johnston's home of Pioneer and mm-hmm. all these other places mm-hmm. that are high in ag sure. business, and do you see that area ever being thought of being developed or something?
Pioneer-owned property?
Yeah, is that?
I think that, and I can't speak for Pioneer, but yeah. My understanding has always been that they're pretty protective of their yeah. property, and it's we certainly, I don't think we would want to see it get developed, because if it does, that means something's happening with Pioneer. We don't want them to leave our community, obviously. They're a big boon to this community. It's a big benefit to have Pioneer be a part of this community. And so there is a large tract of agricultural land right smack dab in the middle of our city. It creates a divide, but so does Camp Dodge. That's a big divide. And at times it's kind of created an east-west almost rivalry in our community. You've got the older east side and the new west side, and in between the two is Pioneer. And it also not only does it kind of create that almost mental divide, but it's a big physical divide. It's a mental divide, but it also kind of prohibits opportunities to get from the east side to the west side in our community. And when you've got all these research fields in the middle, you can either go up to Northwest 70th Avenue to get from east to west, or 62nd, and that's pretty much it.
So, in your opinion, after being in the profession for 5 years, why is planning important? Why do we do it?
Probably first and foremost would be to protect and preserve people's property rights, but also to ensure the highest and best use of properties, ensure the efficient distribution of the infrastructure. You really always have to be looking ahead, at how are we going to get sanitary sewer to this area, how are we going to get water to this area, how are we going to rebuild a road that needs it. So really just looking ahead and ensuring an efficient distribution of infrastructure